Cooking with Captain Ed. I am here today and I'm going to be doing a review of this Ormsby SXGTR Shark. Yeah. First of all, let's start with a little bit about Ormsby. So Ormsby Guitars was founded by Perry Ormsby, who started building guitars and founded the company in Perth, Western Australia in 2003. He's mostly been making high-end guitars. He was one of the originators of, as you can see here, the multi-scale or fan fret guitars, which we'll get into in a little bit. He has his Goliath, which is a headless version. It's got a cool body shape. He's got his Hype Machine, which is very much super strat type. Handmade, tend to run $3,000 to $4,000 US. The GTR range, as this is intended to be a more affordable, machine-made guitar without sacrificing the quality, or, as you can tell from this one, the custom appearance. And these typically run $1,200 US up to about, I think this is about near the top end of that range. But let's just say it goes up to about the $2,000 range. This is all US prices. And what he has coming soon is a GTX line that is even more affordable. Actual prices are not released yet, but probably in the 1,000 US to slightly sub 1,000 US range. We don't know exactly what they're going to wind up being. But the idea is that they're more affordable, but they still have the premium parts, just not necessarily in, maybe such visually striking options. It may just be, mostly flat paint. But they're going to, keep things down in that lower range. Now, as of right now, Ormsby has a Rusty Cooley signature model on the verge of release. And we've seen pictures of it, but we don't know anything really about it. And we don't know how much it's going to cost or anything like that. If you haven't heard of Rusty Cooley, dude is phenomenal. And go check him out. He is an absolute monster. Also being finalized, if you're a fan of Fear Factory, a Dino Cazares signature model is also being put together. Perry is also an unabashedly diehard fan of Randy Rhoads. He recently released a multi-scale tribute to Randy's famous Jackson V, the white with the pinstripe and the offset V and the whole thing, but doing it in the multi-scale. And even more recently, he built that ridiculous 18-string gent monster for Jared Dines. So if you've seen that, it's like a goddamn aircraft carrier across that thing. But an incredible piece of work. What I'm playing through right now is my AxeFX 2XL Plus. I'm using the 5153 red head with Sinister Gates ISO cabinet as the speaker cabinet. There's really no other coloration. There's no gain, no distortion box added in front of it or anything like that. There's a little reverb, a little delay, and a noise gate so that when I have the volume off, it's kaput. But it's otherwise a minimally colored tone. I like the tones that come out of the amp. I'm not going to play a ton of stuff, mostly because when I'm watching a video about a guitar, everyone thinks you want to hear how it sounds, but how it sounds, unless you know the amplifier it's coming out of and have played your own guitar for reference through it, it's pointless. Yeah, it sounds good. Well, yeah, it's a guitar. It sounds good through an amplifier and recorded direct into whatever. So, not gonna be kind of short on actual playing and a little long on talking about it, as I've done endlessly already. I know. So anyway, so this guitar, as you can see, is from the GTR line, which means it's machine made in Korea to very high standards and with top quality materials. This guitar shipped was around 1,700 US dollars. Shipped to me in the USA. You don't get to charge those kinds of prices for a machine-made Korean guitar without good reason. And let me start by telling you, there are a lot of good reasons. So let's take a look at some of the specs. So the Shark is a limited edition version of their SX line on the GTR. The finish is called Ocean Dream, which, to be honest, I mean, it's just staggeringly beautiful. You look at this top, it's, you know, you go from the deep water to the shallow water to, you know, that little bit of thin water that's washing up on the beach. It follows along with that quilt just beautifully. You've got a, it's not a semi-hollow body. It's just a chambered body, and you've got your hammerhead shark cut out here, and as you can see, all up and down the line, you know, got different sharks here. All the Korean-made GTRs and the upcoming GTX are, they're made in Korea, shipped directly to Ormsby in Perth for final inspection and setup, and if it's not amazing, he sends it back, and so you don't have to. If you live in a country without an Ormsby dealer, like I do here in the USA, Perry's got a Reverb.com store. It's just Ormsby Guitars at Reverb.com for all of his sales. I put in my order on a Tuesday morning here in the US. I had tracking info later that day, probably when the sun rose in Perth, and the guitar was in my house, in my hands, by lunchtime Friday. You know, 3 days. From order placed to packaged up and shipped about as far around the world as you can possibly get in 3 days. I was stunned. All right, so let's talk about the guitar. Okay, so first of all, it being a multi-scale, on the thin side, this is a 25.5 scale, which is like any Fender or any Ibanez, and on the bass side, it's a wide stretch. I've got short, fat sausage fingers, but you know, I can kind of make it. This is a 27.5 scale, and obviously it grades all the way. If you go out to the Ormsby site and look up, you know, how Perry came about laying out the multi-scale, he centered on the 9th fret as being like the center of where most guitar players hang out, either, you know, slightly above or slightly below. And true to form, I tend to do a lot of stuff between, you know, 5 and 12, you know, with you know, in the 5th and 12th position. So, you know, anything you're playing in there, you're jumping around, but it feels like any other guitar. There's no really warped feeling around the frets or anything. The body is 47 millimeters thick, and it is chambered mahogany. You can see it's a beautiful cut of wood. There's some great figuring just on that mahogany. There's a great clear coat finish on it, and you can take a close look right here. Look at this neck joint. Look at this pocket here. It is absolutely fabulous, and I can pick this up, and you know, here, this is the 24th fret. I can get my hand all the way up here to the 28th or 29th. The only problem that I have with up here is just how fat and fleshy my fingers are. So, you know, these frets are not especially useful for me, but look at how I can get to the 24th so easily, and there's just so much room there. You know, I have never, ever in my life dealt with a neck pocket that was just this good. And as you climb a little higher up to the thinner strings, you get all the way up to the 29th fret. But on the bright side of that, if you're tuned down to B, you know, if you're playing this like a baritone, I've got this in standard tuning right now. You put heavier strings on it and tune it to B, then you still get all the way up here. You get the full range of a standard tuned guitar, because you know, it's roughly the same note, 23rd, 24th fret. I'm not going to do the math right now, but so it really extends the range of this guitar, you know, by 5 semitones right there, which is fantastic. The body's chambered mahogany. There's a solid maple top in there, which you can kind of see in the hole in the cutout. And there's a premium quilted maple veneer. So this is a laminate top. You're not going to get a top like this in a thick one-piece cap anywhere near this kind of price range. And even if you get something in double this price range, the odds that it's going to be this amazing a quilt are slim to none. This quilt far outshines what I've got on my PRS Custom 24 with the 10 top. That was a $4,000 guitar, and it does not have a quilt top like this. If you're looking for a top like this on a PRS, you're looking at probably not even an artist grade. You're looking more at a private stock, and there you're in the range of $6,000, $8,000, $10,000, whatever. So seeing a top like this, it's a veneer, but it's a real quilt, and each one of them is different. And seeing this on a guitar that's $1,700, and still has all these other great standard features and the custom features, is just amazing. And the neck is a laminated flame maple. You can see some of the flame in there. You can see it's a really nice neck. The neck shape is a D shape. I normally go for more of a C shape. But it feels good. It's comfortable. It's a very satin finished neck, and it's got a good feel to it. The fretboard is bound, and we've got black side dot inlays. There's that set neck again. That is just stunning. And all of the joints are beautiful. It's very, very well done. It's very tight. You can't feel anywhere where the seams are. You can't feel where any of the joints are. It's beautifully made. All right, moving on. And the neck thickness is 19 millimeter at the first fret, and up at the 17th fret, it's 21 millimeters, so 2 millimeters thicker, and that's when you start getting into the heel. But it just, it just feels amazing. All right, fretboard is ebony. The fret wire, stainless. These are stainless steel frets. If you've never played stainless steel frets, I don't know if I should urge you to play them, because once you do, you will never want to go back to classic fret wire over again. They are butter smooth. They last forever. I can pick up any of my non-stainless guitars, and at certain frets, if I just do a little vibrato, I can almost feel them grabbing a little bit. You have to stay on top of the maintenance so well just to keep them smooth and buttery and great. And stainless, they will outlive you easily. I don't care how young you are. I don't care how healthy you are. A guitar with stainless steel frets will outlive you. They're extremely low maintenance, slightly brighter than a standard, I think, nickel or nickel hybrid frets. So a little bit brighter, but they feel amazing. They feel like butter. The fret edging, I'm not getting any harshness going all up and down the way. They don't dive in too much. They're just well-rounded, perfect frets, and you want them to be perfect because they're going to stay that way pretty much forever. Hardware obviously is black, and the bridge and the tuners, which by the way are locking tuners, which I recommend on every guitar. These are all Ormsby branded, but they are made by Hipshot USA. So, Hipshot worked with Perry and his team to create the bridge design. It is a string through, you can see on the back. And as I said, the tuners are locking tuners. Locking tuners, I don't care what kind of bridge you have. If you have a floating bridge, if you have a locking nut, whatever. Locking tuners make life easy. Every one of these strings, I've got like a half a wind on them. So you have a lot more tuning stability, because you're not trying to stretch all the especially on the wound strings where they bind up with each other, with themselves, and if you have tuning issues, none of that. Run them straight through, tighten the nut down, clip, tune, done. Easiest thing in the world. We've got 500K volume, a 500K tone with a push-pull that splits the coils on this humbucker. And these are all just real quality. They have a little bit of resistance, so they're not just floppy volume and tone that you can easily lose track of, but they're not hard to move either. And they've got a little bit of grippy rubber on the sides, so you can get in there. So really, really high quality components, and then you've got the three-way pickup selector standard. Bridge, both, neck. And speaking of those pickups, This is Ormsby's own Hot Rock A8 bridge humbucker, which has about a 13.4K output on Alnico 8 magnets and an Apex A5 single coil in the neck. I couldn't find any of the specs on this, but it's got a nice tone to it, and it feels really good. There's a molded case included. It's very lightweight, like ABS plastic with metal fittings. Very light, nice lining on the inside. And the guitar comes with some case candy. It came with an Ormsby shark pick, which you can see it's a very, very thick pick, meant to be like a more of a tortoiseshell pick. It's got a really good cut to it and a really good feel. I tend to play more jazz style picks, jazz size, but still thick, and it's a fun pick to noodle around with. It's got a pretty sharp point on the tip of it. And to go into the rest of the case candy, I've got to tell a little story. I know, another story. But every time I get a new guitar, especially if it's one I spend real money on, my wife starts harping on me that I need to. Oh, you spent this much money on a guitar. You need to spend a lot of money and get a really, really good strap. You need to have a good strap so it doesn't make a beautiful guitar look like a shitty guitar. This guitar, as part of the case candy, included a strap, a matching leather strap. This strap, as a matter of fact, okay, this is made by, appropriately enough, the Guitar Strap Company out of Australia. You can see you've got multiple pieces of leather. You've got, color stitching that matches. It's a very well-made strap. It's a very attractive strap, and it's comfortable, and it's perfect. And I'm probably going to buy more straps from them. It's just that good. This is not, Ormsby made a deal with somebody to throw in, a $5 nylon strap and call it good. This is a real nice quality strap that I probably would have paid $40 or $50 for, maybe even more. It's really nice. It's really well made, and like I said, I may look into this company and buy more of them. It's that good. It's a really nice playing guitar. It feels good. It's got a good weight to it, but it's not too much. It lays right. I mean, you can see this is laying exactly where I want it. It's not neck heavy. It's not nose diving. It's not trying to come up here and do any of this. It lays where I put it, and it just feels good. And it's got a nice ringing sustain to it. You can hear it still going and going and going. And it's just a beautiful guitar. I'm not going to go on any further. I've given you enough. If you want to hear more clips, you can go to my Instagram at edmanandaz, and you can look up. I have a Metal Minute hashtag that I use to do just bits and pieces of songs. Usually the first minute or so of a song, because Instagram lets you put up a minute. And you can hear how this guitar sounds next to the PRS, next to the Ibanez, next to the Les Paul. I've got them all up there. You can listen side by side and draw your comparisons. You can also like and subscribe, Cooking with Captain Ed, and please do. And you can find me on Facebook at Ed Scythe Music. But if you enjoy, please like and subscribe, and look into the Ormsby guitars. I gotta say, I was following Peter Hodgson, who does a I Heart Guitar blog. He did it for a couple of years, and then he announced that he was going to work for Ormsby, and that's what really piqued my interest in the company. I looked them up and came across this guitar, and I said, holy shit, I've got to have that. And I talked to my wife and negotiated my surrender for whatever she needed in exchange. And this particular model, the Shark, comes in Ocean Dream, and there's also, I think it's called Bloodbath. Sticking with the shark theme. And I had to have it, and they were out of stock because it's a very limited edition. But he does get more in from time to time, and the people that he's working with in Korea, they do a fantastic job. He's holding them to really tight quality control, and they're doing a great job. I cannot say enough about how wonderful this guitar is, and it's absolutely stunning to look at, and I just love it. So check them out, and I hope to get another Ormsby soon because they're just fantastic. So thank you once again. Edman and AZ on Instagram, Cooking with Captain Ed on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Show me some love, and I'll show you some metal.